Herzlich willkommen, Sianamgela, and welcome to the Bundesliga Connection with Kres Harrington on the SL Podcast in partnership with DW Berlin.
It's time for the latest from Germany's domestic football league, the Bundesliga, and more. For that, we are joined by Kres Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Kres, some are calling it a shock that Bayern were defeated by Gladbach in Munich. Given the defending champions did indeed have a depleted roster due to COVID, what is your take on that, Kres?
Well, the rumor was that Bayern Munich had reached out to Borussia Mönchengladbach and asked to have the match postponed, but then the German Football Association has rules in place. You have to have fewer than 16 available players. That wasn't the case with Bayern, so they had to play on. Julian Nagelsmann had also mentioned revenge was on his mind because the way Gladbach booted Bayern out of the German Cup. With all of the players out, specifically with Manuel Neuer, the captain, the man between the posts. I mean, you put in Sven Ulreich, it's no shock there that Gladbach got it going, after Lewandowski put them ahead. But Bayern were missing so many pieces. Not only their goalkeeper, but Leroy Sané, I think, was a big loss, as well as Upamecano. After the match, Julian Nagelsmann threw his defensive effort under the bus. I personally think he was talking about Niklas Zula, because there was one goal there that he felt it could have been intervened with a bit better defensively. But all in all, Gladbach seemingly have Bayern's number. Gladbach performed very well against Bayern. It only took Gladbach, less than 10 minutes to respond, to Bayern Munich, and then they got busy. Their great record showed through Florian Neuhaus, then later Stefan Lainer, as well. They could have even gotten a deeper hole if it wasn't for Sven Ulreich to pull off a great save towards the first half, towards the end of the first half. But the second half, Bayern, they couldn't hit the side of a barn. And basically what that means is they just couldn't get their things going offensively. Lewandowski, he scored his 20th goal, yes, but, they couldn't show for anything all of their effort. He hit the woodwork a total of twice, I think, in this match. He has 6 times so far this season. Thomas Müller couldn't convert. Gnabry couldn't convert as well. We have to see what Bayern Munich, how they look moving forward. One thing with Bayern's return with their depleted roster due to COVID, Joshua Kimmich returned to the lineup. He was the face, of this, at one point, very cautious person in terms of getting the vaccination. Well, he made his return, and he looked quite gassed towards the end of that match, according to the coach. Bayern, they lose, but not that big of a deal. They're at Cologne next match day. They have to deal with Cologne and Anthony Modeste, but time remains to be seen what will happen and how healthy these players will be when they return, because in the case of Kimmich, it took him a while to get back on track.
Dortmund managed to narrow Bayern's lead in the standings to a mere 6 points after Mahmoud Dahoud secured the victory over Frankfurt. And during that match, Dortmund's Erling Haaland was heard speaking Spanish.
Yeah, before I get to that, let's consider that the dessert of this conversation. Now, the match, Frankfurt Eagles got off to a really hot start. They looked really good, in good shape behind Colombian striker Borré's brace. It wasn't until late in the second half, Torgan Hazard checked in, and then that must have done something to Dortmund because they managed to pull one back, and then they struck twice in the final 3 minutes. Jude Bellingham, one of the bright spots of the youngsters at Dortmund. Interesting, a couple days ago during that Classica, Jude Bellingham criticized this official, saying some of the calls were questionable. Well, this official is on some sort of hiatus right now. He looks like he's taking a leave of absence. That was one thing that I took mental note of after this match. But Bellingham got it done. And then, as you mentioned, Dahoud came through. Now, Dortmund left it late, as they often do. I'm sure Dortmund fans were on the edge of their seats, considered this was closed, to the public. Dortmund CEO has reservations about it being closed, doesn't think it should be a complete shutdown. Dortmund's fan base is electric. This time around, they didn't need them. Late heroics from Dahoud got it done. But in terms of Erling Haaland speaking Spanish, okay, first, it was Erling Haaland being on holiday, telling people in Marbella, in Spain, that he's coming to Spain to play. Next, when a defender takes him down, he gets up saying, speaking perfect Spanish. One thing you can capture on the microphone is what the players are saying because there are no crowds, obviously. And Rafael Santos Borre after, he was fouled by him. He got up saying, que te pase, hermano? Basically, what's wrong with you, bro? So that obviously strokes the fire a bit. Kind of suggests that Haaland is preparing himself in some way to exit Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, we have to wait and see, but I thought that was interesting. All in all, Dortmund got it done. They got the 3 points, and now it's only a 6-point gap, to the title contenders. But with all of the COVID situation with Bayern Munich, maybe, there's some light at the end of the tunnel for Dortmund. Maybe they can take advantage of this current weakness that Bayern are dealing with right now.
Kres, with the AFCON ongoing in Cameroon, which Bundesliga side suffered the most from having missing players?
I think right here, a player that plays for a capital club, Union Berlin, Taiwo Awoniyi, he was the one player the coach already spoke out about because how important he is on offense for Union Berlin. He's been so productive this season, so obviously you're going to feel that loss. And just the fact they're coming off a 2-2 draw with Leverkusen, would suggest that maybe if they had that extra bit of offensive spark, they could have gotten over the hump and climbed the table and picked up the 3 points against Leverkusen. It was an electric match, a 2-2 draw. Leverkusen has this nickname, Neverkusen, because they just don't get it done. I mean, Leverkusen haven't looked the best lately. Their 4th Bundesliga game without a win. They do have a highlight. Patrick Schick, I want to talk about him. He is a problem offensively for any defense. He scored his 17th goal. He's the first Bayer Leverkusen player to score 17 goals in his first 18 matches. And he's just that much closer to Robert Lewandowski, who I mentioned scored his 20th. Erling Haaland is trailing right now. He was out for a while due to injury. Let's see if Haaland can pick that back up. But just to backpedal about the absences, I think the biggest name is going to be Nigeria's Awoniyi, without any question, because he's been he scored the lion's share of goals for Union Berlin. And with a tough opponent like Leverkusen, despite, their rough patch they've hit recently, anytime you have a striker like that on the pitch, it could help you. And I just think that match and that result stood out to me in particular.
And before we let you go, Kres, just like always, what else has hit your radar this week?
Yeah, there was history in Bayern's defeat to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Because all of the rules the German Football League has in place, Nagelsmann has to pull, names out of a hat, basically some youngsters up. And one 16-year-old youngster by the name of Paul Vanna, he became the club's youngest ever player. He just turned 16 years old shortly before Christmas. And he recently broke the record that was held by Jamal Musiala, who was 17 years old. So it just goes to show these youngsters are getting quite the holiday season, quite the history made, although in defeat. And just a reminder, the youngest player ever to play in the Bundesliga, no other than Dortmund's Yusufu Moukoko. And I'm waiting to see him do a bit more offensively as well. But these youngsters are making a difference, that's for sure.
Thank you very much for the Bundesliga update, Mr. Kres Harrington from our partner station Deutsche Welle in Berlin, Germany. Have a fantastic day further.
Danke und auf Wiedersehen.
The Bundesliga Connection is a team effort driven by the following incredible individuals. The show is hosted by Aidan Hewitt and Kres Harrington. It is produced by Kres Harrington. It is edited by Aidan Hewitt and Uli Presch, and graphics are provided by David Scullard.